It's going to be a
I'm
mid.
good enough with 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 is good enough because the motor's going to be at least.
Oh, no, that 50 was for the shoot release.
Yeah, he's.
Well, anyway, he's making them small.
Yeah, his parachute widget would fit in like a BT-60, but he's rethinking that now.
Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, you're gonna. I mean, 24 millimeter motors because you buy a good composite motor.
Well, you know, BT-55 is about 3 millimeters.
Hi, Jeremy. I'm Randy Bodway. I'm actually the section activity chairman as well. Hi, Monroe. How are you?
Great.
Or Moose.
thank
Sorry. You got my card.
you. It's time to start, gentlemen.
Randy, you got my card. Good. You're gonna give me one.
Yeah, I call the moderator.
Okay.
I guess you here, do I do a quick? This is Randy Broadway. The session is open for.
Bodway.
Bodway.
No R.
No R.
My apology.
That's okay.
Open forum for existing NAR section leaders and those interested in forming a new section. Did I get that right?
Hey, you did.
Open section forum. It looks like you figured out how to plug in the projector. So you
I did.
This
I couldn't find my thumb drive, so you know, I just used my laptop. I'm good.
If it works, it works.
All right.
Unfortunately, that's as bright as that projector can get. You got the weak one, the other ones are bright, but it's workable. That's all I can say.
And the
So,
whole- Go ahead.
yes, this will run for an hour, as you probably know if you read the schedule. At 12 o'clock, there is a lunch buffet style in the Manatee Room. So look forward to that, and of course, the usual opportunities exist for checking out our vendors' offerings and enjoying the other aspects of this NARCON. There's not much of a bio here, so I'll just leave
turn
with
it
you,
over. All
man.
right, I'm gonna
Have fun.
send this around. I'd like everyone to put your name and your email address if you would, because I'm gonna ask you if you want me to do some things for you, and I know you're gonna have to give me that information at some point anyway. So let's just take care of it now. I'm Randy Bodway. I have multiple hats that I wear in the world of rocketry. I've been in rocketry for about 40 years, so I love this hobby. It's my life, so much that it's also my career. I own E-Rockets. E-Rockets has the largest model rocket selection in the world. We're located in Dayton, Ohio. erockets.biz is our email address. You know, feel free to go there and search and explore and just have fun. I'm also the section activities chair, so my responsibilities is to make sure that model rocket sections of the NAR are serviced and taken care of properly. I've been doing that job for about 1.5 to 2 years now, and enjoy doing that, enjoy working with sections wholeheartedly. I'm also a competitor in the rocketry world. I was the contest director for NARM 49. I was very inspirational in things that were going on in NARM 54. Those are the last 2 NARMs that were in Michigan. So I've got a lot of experience with the NAR and with sections. So I'm hoping you can, you know, take advantage of some of my advice and some of my experiences there. And I've got some small agenda. It's the only slide, so if you want a copy of this, I'll give it to you. That's why I took taking your email addresses anyway. I'll give this to you. It's just some talking points to get us started. I want to make sure we hit every point on here, but I really want you to know too that this is for you guys, whether you're starting a new section or whether you're running an existing section and you need some help or want to talk to people about it. I'm here to help you do that as well. So I want to be available to all of these things. This is some of the best stuff to know about when it comes to sections. So let's just start on the top of the list and talk about national section help and some of the things that I do and that NAR does to help you folks out. And tops on my list, I'm a marketing guy. And that's one reason why I want to really take this position and go to the next level is the marketing portion. Everybody on there? Thank you. Is the marketing portion of what we're doing with sections. And one of the biggest things that we're providing for you guys, and you should be getting some contact from, is Sport Rocketry provides a list twice a year of your section and the contact information. So it's important that when Sport Rocketry comes out or you have any changes in your organization, that you communicate that back so that that information is correct. Because that information comes out of our corporate database. And if the database is wrong, all your information is wrong. So it's critical that the name of the section is correct. The geographic location is something that's important. A few years ago, our database had the capability of understanding the geographical location of your section, where in the past, wherever the president lived, that was the city that was listed in sport rocketry. And what a pain that was.
Yes.
So if you are still that way in your section, we can change that. I mean, I have access to the database, I'll change it today. Okay, if you want, for example, I used to belong to the West Michigan section, and West Michigan section, I think, used to say Otsego, Michigan for the longest time. And Otsego is a town where there's more people in this room than there is in the town. Nobody knew where it was, and it's more West Michigan that got the section name kind of marketed that to people. But now the listing says Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Michigan. So it's naming the 3 big cities in that 250-mile range that gives people better ideas to what's going on. Hoover is the section Detroit, I think still says Ann Arbor, and if I'm wrong, it says Novi, Michigan. And that's fine. Detroit is big, and people understand what the city suburbs are. But you know what? If you're in Novi, which is kind of in the center west part of the city, and you live in Ann Arbor, you don't care about that section because it's too far away. So if you say the Detroit metropolitan area, or the Detroit suburbs, or the western Detroit suburbs, or whatever your geographic area is, we want to list it in sport rocketry correctly, so we can change that database. And we can change that anytime we need to. All you have to do is contact me. Best way to contact me, I gotta watch where I'm walking. Best way to contact me is, where's my sections at nar.org? There it is, right there, under the National Section Help, the last point. Sections.nar.org is where you go. If you have any changes or anything, that email goes to myself, Randy Gilbert, who just left the room, and other individual volunteers that keep these databases and web pages and that stuff active. So when you copy me, the great thing is Chuck Neff coordinates the web page stuff. He gets the same exact email I get, you telling me to make a change. He changes it automatically on the web page without being asked. He just reads all my email and says, hey, I implement that, that's my part. And then when I see it, I can go out and look to make sure he's got it done. If he doesn't, I can remind him. Never the case. And then if Marie needs to make a change in the database, if I don't do it, I send it to Marie at headquarters. She does it. So that's the primary email to go to. Contact information, anytime the president or the section advisor changes, you inform us. I don't really care about the other officers yet. Someday I will, because for historical reasons I'd like to collect that data in the future, but we're not ready to do that. When the database can do it for us, then we'll do it. Insurance is another thing I can help you guys with. If you add a field, it's very easy to add an additional insurance policy. It's free to you guys. You just give us the information and we'll get an insurance form sent to that person yourself so you can give it to the landowner. If you are going to eliminate insurance on a piece of property and you get every year by email your insurance certificate that says, hey, property A and property B, but property A is no longer available and never will be again, you can stop that by just letting us know, hey, we don't want to insure that site anymore, we're never going to fly there again. Now, I've had cases where I have a section that I know continues to insure a site, and it's free. Okay, it's part of our insurance policy we're paying. We've been insuring a site for about 10 years that we haven't used, but we could any day go use that site. We have permission and everything. We just have a better site, and we're not kicked off that better site to have to go to our backup site. So we leave it insured. No problem. There's no cost to the section for that. Web page recognition, I talked about, Chuck, updating web page information. You have contact information there too. You've got phone numbers and email addresses and a name in that portion as well. We control it for you and we want to help you make sure that is correct. Chapter Excellence Awards is something that's coming up in the future. I want to talk to you guys about it. What it is, it's a recognition program for sections that help you determine, hey, am I an excellent section, an outstanding section? You know, how do I rank myself or weigh myself up against sections that are doing everything a section should be doing? And it's one of those type of awards where you'll get the criteria. It'll be a list of 50 or 100 items, and every good section has a web page. Every good section has contact information that's current. Every good section has launches. Every good section has all these different things they do. They do a newsletter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a way for you to go down a checklist and say, hey, we do this, we do this, we do this. Uh-oh, I think we're an excellent section, but we don't do this. Maybe I should go out and find a volunteer, or maybe I should pick this up and do this task in order to step our section up a little bit more. All right? And those awards, you'll get more details as that continues to develop. We have a Yahoo group for section leaders, sections@yahoo.com. If you're not a part of that group, I want you to let me know, because I'll send you an invite. That's a good way for other section leaders to talk to each other. And if you have a question that you want to bring to the group, feel free to start conversations there. I don't look at them every day, but at least every week. So if I can help out, I'll chime in. But sections can be pretty self-supporting in themselves. I want to talk about free membership for youngsters. At NARCON last year, we approved a free membership for somebody under 18 years old for every section. Now, one. And so what we're going to do is, some of you guys have already sent National Marie your information on who that person's going to be. I am going to send you in the next month or so a certificate that will help you, remind you that, hey, you have that free, and you can actually hand it to some kid and say, hey, you're the guy I'm going to give this free membership to. We know at the NAR that it's not going to provide us any income or anything but pay forward by encouraging someone to try something, get a nice magazine, get insurance, maybe be part of a section for free as a youngster for a year. And we're hoping that maybe 10 or 15 years down the road, they'll say, hey, this was a really cool hobby. I joined the NAR. I got a free membership from the NAR. I think that'd be cool to join that as an adult. And they'll get into it. So it's kind of priming the pump to help us out in the far future. It's investing in our future. We're paying forward. So the NAR is willing to do that, one for every section. And if we're real successful and a lot of people utilize this free membership, we'll try and do it again. We'll talk about it again at NAR to see if next year we'll have a program. And then, of course, my contact information. Any questions about basic services that we provide already from the NAR? Let's talk about grants. Since the NAR has been very solvent for the last quite a few years, we've decided that we want to invest in some places to strengthen our membership and the support to the sections. Not only do we not charge a section fee anymore, we save you guys $25 and a stamp at this point. We also have a $10,000 budget to provide grants to sections for safety, launch equipment, marketing materials, those kind of things. I have here the section application. I'd love to give you guys each copy. Has anybody, David, have you guys applied for a grant? I don't think you have either, right?
Ours applied every time.
Have you?
Got the full amount every time.
Excellent.
And
Our
I'm in
hands
fact,
did too. Excellent.
I'm in fact behind. I should have made mine submission earlier.
Already? Okay, well,
I will be
now
doing it soon.
we're gonna make it really easy on you, because you didn't see me put a deadline up there, right?
Right.
There's no longer a deadline. Okay? If you need something, especially safety, you need something and you need the $250, you fill out a grant. You want one of these, Mark?
I've got a copy.
Okay. You fill out the grant proposal here, get it in, and we'll get you a check for the $250. And we'll do that anytime you need it. Okay? We don't care. You need it, we want to help you out. In fact, if your section has not filled this out, I encourage you to fill it out so that we can give you the check tomorrow.
Yes, it comes quick. Yeah.
Okay? So if you need to, if you want to do it, I mean, this form is, it's not hard. It's really not that hard. The hardest part is, do you know what you need, where are you going to buy it from, and roughly how much is it? So go get on the net tonight, see, what do you need, and let's get it on this and get it to me tomorrow or tonight or whenever. And you call me if you've got it ready, and I'll come and get it this weekend so we can give you the check tomorrow. All right, I really would like to give somebody a check tomorrow because they need something. Of course, we're going to do it in front of our town section meeting, but that's okay. Because I want to send the message out that, hey, we want to support sections and we'll bend over backwards to do it. All right, and that includes launch equipment. Now, if you want new launch rods, no, we're not going to buy launch rods. They're not really, now if you want rails, they're a safety, okay? We'll buy you launch rails if you want launch rails. But if you need a medium power pad or a high power pad, or you've got issues going on with blast deflectors, I don't care what it is, launch equipment, your control pad doesn't work very well, I don't have a good safety key on it, I need a PA system. I mean, quite frankly, for a new section, the first thing they should be buying is a PA system. Misfire Alley, your launch site. You need a new PA system, that's safety equipment. Do the proposal. Get the stuff. Firefighting equipment, extinguishers, paddles, all that type of stuff. You know, we want to support you guys, and if you don't have it or can't, especially can't afford it, that's what the grants are for, to get leverage them. Okay. Now, you guys are all current sections, right? Jeremy, are you in a section?
No, not yet.
You're what?
No.
So you're thinking about a new one, possibly?
Yes.
Perfect. This is for you. I want you guys to pay attention because this is what I want to encourage the existing NAR sections. There can't be too many NAR sections, right? I mean, we've got almost 150 of them now. If there's 500, I'm good with that. NAR sections are where we keep our membership base. It is a benefit that flyers find. You know, it's more fun flying as a group together than it is by yourself. And we want to really support people getting in groups. People that are in NAR sections are people that continue to renew and continue to be part of the NAR. They take advantage of NARCON, they take advantage of NAR, and they take advantage of the National Sport Launch. All the things that the NAR provides, they take advantage of. So that's why we want to really support the sections greatly. So starting a new section we've made so easy, we really only need 2 NAR members to get started. Used to be 5 years ago, now it's to the point, you know what, 2 people can start a section. We'll give you a few years to get up to 5. We expect you to get to 5. So you have to grow in order to stay a section. But we'd accept 2 or 3 years of you having only 2 people in the section. We're okay with that. We'll support you with grants. We'll support you with services like the sport rocketry listing, insurance, all that stuff. Okay? To the existing sections, what do you guys think can happen to the hobby if you got a few satellite sections going on in your area? Now you get some reaches a little bit out of town, and now what happens, this is how it benefits the whole NAR and all flyers, is now you get another section that's maybe 30 miles away, and they find a nice field. It's like, oh my gosh, I now have 2 choices a month of launches to go to. Or I've got 2 satellite select sections that are in this direction each, maybe 30 miles or 50 miles away. And they find a nice site, man, now I've got every weekend covered. I can go fly rockets at one of these 3 places. So it benefits your section to see another section get formed. So these are things for you existing sections to know about and be thinking about. In the West Michigan world, Muskegon, Michigan is over here. That's where we had NAR in 54 a few years ago. 45 minutes away is Grand Rapids. An hour away is Kalamazoo. And these people are all one big group. They don't have to be one big group. The central part of the group used to be way down here in Kalamazoo. Now it's way up here in Muskegon. But there's still people in Kalamazoo that are commuting all the time and are just wanting to have a local field, but they don't have the incentive to go out and really say, okay, we're going to create our own field, we're going to create our own section down here. You know, how do we do it? What kind of support do we get? How hard is it to do? And it's not really that hard. The NAR will provide the support that we've talked about here already. It's you guys getting out there and saying, hey, this makes sense to us to have a sister section down in the southern city or northern city or wherever it is to help the overall big picture, and my section. If you ever have done competitive rocketry, the worst thing is having the next closest section being 1,000 miles away or 500 miles away, because it's hard to get visitors to come in help you get a regional going, for example. If you have a sister section that's in a nearby city, now that's easy to do because competition isn't the big thing it used to be. You know, only 10% of the NAR really participate in competition anymore. But hey, it gives us more opportunity to expand and grow and learn how rocketry works by getting involved in contests. There's no fee to have a section. It's free. There's no more $25 a year. You want to sign up, you basically fill out a form, send it to headquarters. You got our blessing, you're a section. Take advantage of all the other opportunities. The other thing that is probably the most important thing to come out of years for section, thank you Mark for being one of the main conspirators here, is a wonderful section manual. It's available online at that address. If you go to the NAR website, it's linked in a number of places. In fact, let's see. You can go right down here. Is it showing up? Yep. Find a club. Here's the section guidebook right there. And that's only one place that it is. It's in other places throughout the web page. So it's right there. So this is all online, easy for you to get to. It is a great resource on how to run a section, how to solve individual problems, and definitely how to start a new section. Everything from one of the first activities you want to get started on is bylaws. You know, what are the ground rules that your section is going to live by? This guidebook will help you cover the major topics of bylaws, so that your organization can actually have functional rules to follow by chance something changes. The worst thing that changes in a section is, hey, the president's the president, he's one of 3 people that are active in the group, and he falls off. He comes out, he's out of touch, he's lost communication with the group, he doesn't care about things anymore, and somebody else needs to step up and take the reins. Well, your bylaws are going to help dictate to the next leaders, you know, how do you take this group over and how do you move forward when you have somebody that's not going to actively participate anymore, or dies, or moves, or whatever the reason is. You really need a simple set of bylaws to just tell you how to proceed when something big like that happens. Some sections will write their bylaws and they'll use the same bylaws and not make a change for 20 years. When was the last time Narhan's changed theirs?
The original bylaws were made to be so difficult to amend that it's functionally impossible to do.
Okay. And so they've stuck with the same bylaws. But they work though, right? I mean, they're still paying 25 cents per meeting for their dues,
right,
or whatever silly thing it is.
It's pretty, yeah, the dues haven't gone up since the dawn of time. I just paid through 2024 and it was my grocery money for a couple weeks.
It's changed, basically.
The our group illegally changed our bylaws, so it can be done.
Yeah. And the groups I've been involved in over time, every year they review the bylaws. Hey, they're doing their due diligence. Sometimes they make a change, usually they don't. But your bylaws are simple rules for you in case you get in trouble. Otherwise, you're here for what? You want to have fun, you want to educate some people about your hobby, and that's what a section is all about. You want to fly rockets, right? Build rockets.
One thing I do want to add about the guidebook, though, the print version is for convenience to have something at meetings. That'll be renewed. That'll be updated annually, or if there's a major change. But the web page is the living document.
Yeah.
And there are links to lots and lots of files on the web page, along with photos and illustrations that just were not practical to include in the print version.
Yeah, and the print version is extremely detailed too. Every time the NAR board meets, there could be changes in this book because we change a process or a policy, and we'll update this book online, right away. This is nostalgic for me, by the way. I'm not a paper guy, but Mark printed it for me, so I'm going to keep it.
Well, because it was the first one since 2001, and I thought we all thought we ought to commemorate it somehow.
Yeah. So
Because
this is more like a trophy or a plaque. But I have a place on my bookshelf where I'm going to put it. But section manual is available. And then for your new section, there's the link to the section application. Again, it's on the NAR webpage. It's easy to get to. It's a one-page form that basically asks the few questions that are needed to fill the information in the database. You know, what are you going to name the club? And this manual words it so well. Don't get too hung up by your name. You can change it. And I would say 3 or 4 sections have changed their name this year. Okay? Because they're new and they found an acronym they liked when they started, and then they found out, no, that acronym doesn't fit us quite as nicely. I want this acronym, or I don't want an acronym, I want a name. And that's okay. We don't care. You know, call yourself what you need to market your section. And so section name, who the president is, who the senior advisor is, their name, address, email information, phone number, where the section is geographically located, do you have any sites that you want to have insured, and then we email you that certificate. Those kind of things are in the application. It's a one-pager, very simple. You can fill it out, scan it, send it to the office, or send it to sections.nar.org, and we'll process it for you. So actually starting a section is not that hard. Any questions, especially about starting a section?
So who can start a section? I understand only 2 members are needed, but for example, do you need to be part of a school or part of anything? It gets to be 2 random people that have
It is
star
up,
membership.
it is up to you, quite frankly, exactly. When I moved to Dayton, Ohio a couple of years ago, in fact, I'm still thinking about starting a section, even though there's 2 sections already in town, I'm thinking about starting a 3rd. It would probably be my wife and I might be the first 2 to start it, and because I'd like to start a section with no budget and see if we can have a money-free section. I'm really dying to do that. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I want to give it a try. You know, my business would sponsor the web page, which would be the only expense, and because there's no fees, you know, we'll do Misfire Alley. We'll find a local park.
Taking paper supplies.
So yeah, I mean, and if we come up with 5 members in 3 years, good. We're going to still stay a section. But anyway, anybody could do it. It could be a family of 5, and you could have that section forever. If you want to start getting beyond Misfire Alley, PA system, first thing you probably want to buy, even with Misfire Alley. I mean, if you were to start a section today, say, hey, me and my cousin's gonna start a section, we're gonna go fly at this field, we need a PA system, fill out the grant, we'll help you out.
And I would add that almost by definition, you're going to get some kind of request. As soon as people know you exist, you're going to have requests for Cub Scouts to come launch at your launches and the like. And at that point, God bless the Cub Scouts, PA is good. You've got to be able to get their attention. And for us, because we coexist with lacrosse, soccer, and football some weekends, air horns. I mean, pump up air horns. And we actually have to have a deputy RSO standing by the soccer field. If he hears the horn, he blows his horn. And we brief the refs before each match saying, you know, if you hear the horn, stop play, something came outside the gate. Because we did have a lawn dart come down in the middle of the soccer, of a lacrosse match once. And we could have lost the field over that. It all,
It only takes one.
you know, yeah, it only takes once. So
And I don't care if you're flying on an A3 motor or a G motor or an F motor, you know, that could happen, so you just need to be aware.
and all this is by way of building on what Randy said. PA is your first capital outlay in this day and age. It's
And
just
the NAR wants to
paper.
support you by providing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what's necessary, then that's what we want to do. That's a big support piece. So, you know, you do not need a full launch system, a rack. You don't need that stuff to start a small section. You got 5 friends that like to fly rockets. Doggone it, you guys, and especially if you're already NAR members, you know, it's a no-brainer. You start a section, you take advantage of the insurance, you take advantage of the grants when you need it, and you have fun. You know, how many business meetings are you required to have a year? There's no requirement, exactly. You know, the most successful section I've ever been involved with went from about 10 members to almost 100 members in like 4 years. They flew Misfire Alley all that time. it was not money that ran the section. The whole budget was $150 a year. We eliminated dues because we didn't need the money anymore because we had so many members and so many volunteers to help out. So it's
Just
not
gave my
necessary.
treasurer a heart attack.
Oh my gosh. We think that we have to throw money at flying rockets. You don't. You don't have to throw money at it. Now, at some point in time, you get so big where you have to do some things. PA systems, roping off areas, launch system, just to keep control of what's going on. But I've seen misfire alleys run just fine with 20 pads set up and a nice PA system. That's the only thing that is really needed. And then that section turned around and ran an RM a year after that.
And rails and racks and a master controller can, when it's a substantial cash outlay, like we've got aging systems, and it's a labor of love for one of our older members who just broods on maintaining and ground support.
And when you're doing it for 30 flyers or 50 flyers, sure, it makes sense. There's progression. You'll know when you go out to a park, and you'll know when you need to grow up. And if you get a waiver, it's a totally different story. But a section doesn't need a waiver to survive. There are many sections that only have the school football field or baseball diamond fly-in, and that is fine. It's a very family-oriented atmosphere. Yeah, you don't have the high-power flyers there, but you know what? They are willing to travel a little more to go fly at a field that's bigger. And if you have 2 or 3 sections in the area, of course you're going to share those resources because no one's going to uninvite you to come into their high-power event. They want people to come to those events too. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, actually, I have quite a few. I'm from the University of Central Florida.
Okay.
I'm actually the president of the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space.
Perfect.
And, so a registered student organization through UCF.
Okay.
We do a lot of rocketry. Right now
Yep.
we're doing the USLI project. It's a NASA competition.
Okay.
We do 10K competitions. We do mini hybrid competitions. We do a lot of rocketry. So we kind of wanted to or at least I wanted to kind of check out if we can possibly incorporate a NAR section within the club.
Absolutely. You can restrict your membership of your club just by indicating in the bylaws. If you want to indicate that only people from your university
Right.
can join the club, you just say that in your bylaws.
So I could say, so if our acronym is SEDS, the whole long title is SEDS, so we say you have to be a member of SEDS in order to be part of this NAR section?
Yes, you can say that right in your bylaws and enforce that, and we will support you. Okay, we've got insurance, we've got web information. So the only thing is you're going to get advertised nationwide that, hey, you've got a section here at the university, and you may get people that are local that may make contact saying, hey, how do we join? Sorry, you're not a person of the university, but you're an R member if you want to come fly. You guys decide the rules. You want to come fly with us, we're glad to have you. Or how would you like to volunteer your time to help out?
Now, do you have other college organizations?
We have 4-H clubs. I gotta say, I think we've got a couple of college organizations that are in there. So there are high schools that start sections. Yes.
Yeah, 'cause my question is, then it becomes an issue with the school. Like I said, we're a registered student organization.
Yep.
We could be a NAR section, but I don't know if that's going to cause conflicts with UCF if we're going to have to say, okay, our NAR section is now a registered student organization. If that's the case, the two can't exist as one. There would be 2 separate organizations within UCF.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to ask if we could have a section within SEDS.
Yes.
And that's why I was originally asking if you had to be part of a school or something to make a section.
Yes.
And that's something that could present to UCF, like, look, NAR doesn't provide, you don't have to be a college to have this thing, so.
That's correct.
So
We have no restrictions to that side, but we would love you to be a section and take advantage of the benefits that we have available.
And also, appeal to their, when you let them know that the section, as a chartered section, you're walking in with $2 million of liability insurance. That's going to be attractive to the school.
Yeah, and we're primary too, so our insurance would pay before the school insurance would.
But one of the legendary, they're gone now, but probably one of the more famous sections in our district was the MIT Rocket Society. You'll see, I don't know if you've met Trip Barber yet, but he was a leading light in the MIT Rocket Society in the 70s, and he's still huge. And so it was a college society, and they did very, very well over the years that it existed.
and what about possible scholarships or grants other than that? For example, like I said, we're doing a USLR project. It's a NASA competition. We're representing UCF. We're competing against 28 other schools across the nation.
Unfortunately, I took the one line out of the presentation. I should have left it in. We will make exceptions to the grant program.
Yeah.
If you write a grant request, we will take it to the board of the NAR and we will handle it as a separate issue there.
Yeah.
So yes, we will do that. Now scholarships, Sections doesn't run scholarships. We have our own scholarship committee.
Okay.
There are a number of ways to earn money. We've got a Canon Award that a teacher can, does that have to be K through 12?
I don't believe so. It ordinarily is.
In order, there's a
but-
Canon scholarship for $500 that might be available to your group, your teacher.
To a faculty advisor,
Yeah.
potentially.
There is a $1,000 NAR scholarship for individuals. Every one of your members would qualify for that. It's $1,000 a
It's
year.
competitive. I mean, there's a process. We
Right.
have a limited number of scholarships, but your members, as long as they're in school this year and planning to be in school next year, would be eligible.
Yeah. So every one of your members would be eligible for
would
the
not be
$1,000.
seniors?
Say what?
So seniors would not be eligible for that?
That's correct. They would not. It's only your undergraduate degree. But that's okay. That's another $1,000
Yeah.
potential for
Right.
your members. I can't think of any others. Are those the only,
Let's
those are
see,
the only two you've
Canon,
got?
scholarships, I was on the committee for both last year. That's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
Section grants to get going, the insurance, and I know back in my days as a bureaucrat at Hometown State, if a student group had come to my leadership and said, and oh, by the way, this national organization provides us with $2 million insurance, that would have been very attractive.
Yeah.
And I personally would have no problem seeing more undergrad involvement. There tends to be a falling off from high school, and then we get the born again Rocketeers when the people who left in after high school have kids of their own, and we get them back in.
Yeah.
Classic example. So, but we don't seem to see a lot of crossover from the USLI groups coming into NAR.
No, but it hasn't been enough time, quite frankly.
That is.
Yeah, it's 10, 15 years later when we make these kind of investments that we see a return on our investment. We're paying forward as an organization.
Yeah.
And we need to do that to continue the hobby, and the NAR wants to support it. Okay, what else?
I don't really know what to ask. I mean, I know there's a lot of
Okay.
things I want to know, but I don't know what to ask.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to ask these guys that are more experienced with NAR sections, what are the things that help you guys out? I mean, what's the most important factor in your section? What makes your section strong?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Dave, do you have an office within your section? You're the president, right?
No, I'm senior advisor.
Senior advisor, okay. Your name's on the rolls, so
Yeah.
I see it. Those are the only two we keep track of.
Sure.
For now. We'll do more in the future. But what do you think the biggest strength in your section is?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we've got a great lunch site, so that always helps.
Okay, yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing right now.
Okay. All right. Dale, what do you think?
Couple of miserable old coots to keep it running.
Yeah. They're the two that do the
Yeah.
90% of the work?
Yeah. Glenn Favier and his wife Rita are just stalwarts in the place. As far as, I think, getting the insurance has helped us. We've lost several launch sites in the past. Right now we have 2.5 because they're building over one. But the insurance is a big help.
Yeah. And we've gone from 1 million to 2 million
Yes, and
a few
prime-
years ago. And then even better than that is we have fire protection that's meaningful at this point in time
Mhm.
too. You can actually burn down a farm and might be covered, might be all
Yeah.
covered. Not that we would do that, but hey, you have that protection just
Right.
in case.
Mhm.
Just in case. We've never had a huge payout. We've never burned down a farm or a home or anything like that.
What are the specifics of that on the website?
The specifics.
Specifics.
There is a question and answer section under insurance on the
Okay.
website that covers your basic questions.
I'm sure Glenn knows all this.
insurance FAQ is called.
And if it doesn't, drop me a note and I'll see if I can get you an answer.
Okay, yeah.
But typically Q&A covers about everything. I mean, it truly is a great insurance policy. The one thing with the college that you guys are going to have to be a little bit aware of is you have to follow the NAR safety code. Okay, there's a high power safety code and then there's a low power safety code, depending on if you get a waiver. If you don't get a waiver, you know, this low power safety code is going to cover you. But when you guys were talking about the hybrid motors are not covered under our insurance policy. So if you're launching hybrid motors at a launch, you've negated your entire policy for that launch. So that's something to think about. The school is going to want to be aware of that too. You know, it's a different risk factor. Your school insurance will probably cover you.
Yeah, it's something we do every year, that competition, so I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, your NAR insurance just wouldn't be affected at that point in time. You just got to be aware of that. Now, if you're just going out, you're doing up to G motors, no waiver, you're covered. You're covered. NAR insurance is going to cover you. Covers your officers too. Being a section adds additional coverage for your section, your officers. So that's a big benefit to you as well. If one of the faculty members happens to be a NAR member and they're an officer, it's going to protect them even more too. And I'm sure they're well insured through the college anyway, but it just adds that little extra degree of help. The insurance, the deductible is a little odd, and it's kind of hard to understand sometimes even when you read it on the Q&A. The deductible is actually $5,000. But we only make you guys liable for $1,000. The NAR actually pays $4,000 of your deductible if you have a problem. Okay, so let's say you run you spearhead a rocket through a car and it's $2,000. Your section's going to pay $1,000. The NAR is going to pay $1,000, and the insurance company doesn't pay anything because we cover your deductible. It's $6,000 when you destroy a car. It's $10,000 worth of damage. You or your section will pay $1,000. The NAR will pay $4,000 to get your $5,000 deductible, and then the insurance company will pay $5,000. Not like that ever happens, but that's how it would work if something catastrophic like that occurred.
Okay. So I was kind of running scenarios in my head. Here's an issue that I think might come up and what I'm probably going to have to do about it. Okay, we're a registered student organization, so we have officers, you know, your president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, all that kind of stuff. You know, originally I come in here and think, okay, we'll have those officers also be the officers of the new NAR section. That's something we can't possibly do because we're not a NAR club, we're Students with Exploration and Development Space. People come into the club, not NAR members, members of AAA, members of other things. So if they get elected an officer, we can't say, no, you can't be that because you're not part of NAR.
Yeah.
So what
you might have to elect separate officers to make sure you have NAR members.
Right. So that's what I was going to think.
Am I correct? Is the only ones that have to be NAR though are the president of the section advisors? Is that correct?
Technically, yes. Technically, yes.
Okay.
That's a good point. Technically, that is true because the only things we currently keep track of are those two positions, and you have to be a NAR member to track as those.
That still puts a requirement on the president, so we can't do that. So what I was thinking we'd probably do is that I would probably start one on my own, not as part of the school, because I don't want to create a club that's eventually going to compete with the club that we're in, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be, here's the Rocketry Club, and then here's Students with Exploration and Development Space. They're too similar. So I kind of wanted NAR to be part of our organization, but I would probably do like I guess on my own, and then with others part of that club. So.
Sure, you most certainly could do that. There is no restrictions. We wouldn't discourage you from doing that. I think it's a good idea too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a general question. It has really nothing to do with starting a new section. We do a Rocketry 101 course. We're doing like little A motors, little rockets. Where can you launch those dang things? Like we're at UCF. We have 2 launch sites.
Yep.
Palm Bay and Bunnell. They're an hour away either way.
Okay.
We don't want to drive an hour for small
Sure.
launches. Every park we've gone to, we've had issues with people saying you can't launch those here. And what are they going to do? But
We get that all the time.
where can we go that's close? That's just
If you're operating in a sense, is there campus open space?
Yeah.
A ball diamond, something?
the UCF gives us the hardest time launching anything. Yeah, they're highly concerned that we're gonna light something on fire, or it's gonna crash into someone, and it's gonna become a whole liability issue,
Well, your liability
Yes.
issue will go away because you're going to provide insurance.
right?
And you can provide site insurance, so the college could be given a policy to protect them as well with our policy, no
Yeah.
charge.
And that's, yeah, but
You
that's.
know, we paid
that's
the
an email.
$50,000, whatever it is.
They just give us a really hard time. Yeah, so UCF, we're a huge campus, there's plenty of space there, you just won't let us do it.
Let them know, I mean, for no effort at all, UCF is listed as a named insured for any rocketry activities that take place on this patch of the campus.
Yeah.
It might
That
cut
detail.
some ice with them, you'd hope it would.
Probably we would make the insurance policy say covers anywhere on the campus, but you would obviously go in the same place. You are saying, and part of our insurance is you're going to follow this model rocket safety code. All right? This is the best seller to any landowner that you can have for getting a field. Hey, we have to follow this code. No matter what rules you put on us, we're following this code. Okay? I went to a community that has a really hard time giving people permits to fly rockets. And I told the lady when I said, we're ready to start we want a permit, so we start flying rockets. And I said, I have to follow the Model Rocket Safety Code of the NAR, which is going to be more stringent than any of your rules ever will be. And she goes down, well, these are the rules. It says, yep, that's code number whatever. And she says, you're right, you guys have more stringent rules. Yes, we'll grant you permission. All you have to do is inform us of which part and which dates. And with that part.
We fly out of a county park, very similar deal.
Here's the part that is probably important to you and your campus. If you're flying A motors, you can see the site dimension in feet has to be at least 100 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a ball diamond. So you can fly A motors 100 feet. You want to go to B motors, you need 200 feet. Okay, you're on a football field now with maybe a little bit more width. C motors, 400 feet. So this is a harder rule to go by than a campus would. They would probably say, sure, go ahead and fly D motors on this football field.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't. I got to have 500 feet to do that. I need 2 football fields. So thank you, but no, I can't do it because my rules are more stringent than you. And this will help you. This will be a big support to the campus. So you want to do A demo models, you got to have 100 feet to be able to do that. So this is why I say a section does not need to be a section with a field so big it needs a waiver. You don't have to fly I motors. I mean, if you have a park, a local park, and 400 feet is your diameter, you're flying C motors. You know, family club can have just as much fun with C motors. A competition can go on a field and fly just as well with C motors on a small field as anything else. So a section doesn't have to have a high power field for this section. All right. Anything else regarding sections that we should discuss as a group? Any issues coming up? Is there any service that we need to provide that we're not?
I'm too close to the question. I would be the last person to ask.
Yeah, you're asking the question all the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What more can we do for you?
Yeah, what makes sense for us to be doing? Is there anything? I think in the future for me, I'm hoping to provide you more marketing opportunities to help you out. Web page is the most critical thing you can do outside of having a launch field, in my opinion. I mean, any park you could go to suffice a launch field, but getting some web presence, if you want to grow your section, that is the best way today. More than 90% of people that come to your launches today have gone to the web page to check up on your section before visiting. Okay, it's not the flyer in the window at the local hobby shop anymore. It's, hey, I did a web search and I found you.
I'll get a minimum of 3 calls and emails a month, and that's a white month from scout leaders, parents. But we do a monthly launch at NASA Goddard, a public launch at the visitor center there, and that's always peak hours. I mean, it's a very visible thing, and they promote it aggressively. So.
And remember, you're on our website too, and you've got your section's email address and your section contact. and your section web page is all advertised there. So these web crawlers have gone out and they've picked up the fact that you're linked to our website. So that adds traffic to your website, even just being there, because Google says, hey, this website's connected to that website, and hopefully vice versa, because that gives you higher Google rankings, which means your section's going to be searched better on. The more sites you are linked with, the higher ranking you get with Google. That's one of the highest rankings that'll get you found, is having your link on another website. So big benefit to be able to do that. And the NAR is helping you out because we're linking at least one link there to you. Just got to figure out how to do more. Get those Google searches up somewhere.
But as Randy said, we're always open to good ideas. If there's something we can be doing, if there's something we at the national level, because Randy's a committee chair, I'm a trustee, if there's something we can be doing at the national level, hey, why doesn't the NAR do this for us? Well, nobody's thought to ask. Is generally going to be the answer. As long as it's legal and doesn't screw with our insurance, we're likely to say yes. We're not in the business of no.
Quite a lot of discussion to say no on one topic.
Yeah.
We'll talk for an hour before we say no to something. The board, I mean, the highest guys in this
Yeah,
organization.
and it was generally the consensus going in was that this was not something we were willing to support. But rather than just, what do you think? No. We discussed it. We spent a good hour on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, again, we none of us are power tripping by being trustees. We're there because we feel a responsibility to the membership, and so it's very we get to yes a lot more easily than we get to no.
This might not be for Jeremy so much, but if you start your own section, maybe this could be helpful. I can give you reports. You have to send a note to sections.nar.org. But if you want a list of NAR members in your local area, if you send me a list of zip codes you want covered, or maybe you just want a list of everybody in the state that are currently members, I'll provide that for you on an as-needed basis. So if you guys are saying, hey, I'm doing a competition, or I want to invite certain people, give me the email address or the mail address, I don't care what they are. You tell me what you want, and I'll provide it by state or zip code, however you want it. I'll provide you that information. I want to ask you guys as well. I'm always asking, saying, what can we do for you? I want to bring up one more topic, and this is for the more advanced sections, the sections that have been around a while and have great resources and everything is running fine. We, the NAR, are looking for volunteers to do certain tasks. And right now, I am looking for volunteers to help out in a couple of different areas. I am looking for people that are willing to do web page judging. It's a hard task because there's 150 sections. You have to go to 150 web pages. Pick the 10 that you like the best and submit that list of 10. And we'd like you to do it twice a year. So it's like a 6-hour, I'm going to sit down and surf the web for 6 hours and go to every web page and just give a list of, hey, these are the 10 I like. Sometimes I get 9, sometimes I get 11. Doesn't matter. We just want somebody to volunteer to help us out with that. The other area I'm looking for a volunteer is reviewing section grants and approving them. Because of my business, I've taken myself out of that job. The only thing I do is write the congratulations letter and send a check. Okay, that's all I do. I actually have a group of other people that actually say, yes, I think that's a good thing to give a grant for the safety or equipment or marketing materials. So I lost my slideshow. So I'm looking for a volunteer for that. Then eventually I'm going to be looking for a volunteer to help out with this Chapter Excellent Awards. And if there's any other section services, another section service I have is we have a Google map out there that shows where all the sections are. Looking for a volunteer to actually manage that every time a new section gets added or taken away.
Yeah, when you brought it up earlier, it used to be it pulled off whoever your section contact was.
Yes.
And so I'm Southern Pennsylvania, and then Glenn February used to live just north of the border. When he moved just south of the border, Southern Pennsylvania became listed as a Maryland section.
Yes. Oh, did it?
Yes,
Okay.
so they
Do we want to
changed-
correct that today?
We
It's
haven't
corrected.
changed section contact to me.
Okay.
You may have already corrected, I don't know, let's
Okay.
see what
All
we
right.
have.
Marie does all the work, but
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that right now.
Yeah, they changed section contact to me to get us back in Pennsylvania, but I think maybe that's a software issue that shouldn't be that hard. to
Our
address.
problem is we don't have the software all talking to each other.
Right.
And it'll come down the road, so right
Yeah.
now I'm depending on volunteers to make sure those things happen.
What about proposing a reduced membership for those in a section or those who run a section?
We've had a lot of discussion about that, and it kind of comes back to, you know, if you're committed enough to be a section leader, you're probably committed enough to keep your membership. You know, it's only $62 a year, quite frankly, and you cannot join another national organization for $62. And it has been 15 years, what do we say? How many years has it been since we raised
I
it?
believe it was 14 at least.
14 years, and the discussion occurred in yesterday's board meeting or the day before's board meeting. There's no discussion of changing the due structure today. So that $62 is probably going to continue to be at that rate, even though inflation will eventually.
The reason I ask is because for college students, that's a lot of money to me, that's going to be a lot of money to them. One of the things we actually want to do next year is have an L1 certification course, where through the school and through our club, we can buy rocket kits for our members to be able to get their L1s on. So then they're just responsible for being a NAR member. They're college students, they don't want to pay that money. If we could get a reduced price for college students for being part of NAR section, any of that, I could guarantee you a lot of students right now would join.
Sure.
So,
We wouldn't be able to do anything with the membership cost, but we may entertain, if you have a scientific reason that you want to do a project and build level 1 type kits, I think that we would entertain a possible grant to support that.
well, the purpose of the L1 is to do those kind of projects. You get your L1, your L2 to do USLI, to do the 10K competition. These are things that are.
So I think that you need to maybe write a grant proposal and give it to the board and let us, and ask for cost of the kits.
Right.
You know, we won't do membership because.
Well, that's not saying. We would be able to get the kids to the school.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I see.
so yeah, so that's what we want. We would get the kids to the school, and then those who wanted to get their own ones would be responsible for getting their own memberships. We can't.
You might
provide
want to take a look at, we won't change the membership cost, you know, we're
Right.
pretty strict on that. But we may look at grants to do other things, if there's a way to kind of package the deal. We would look at doing a separate grant, so a grant proposal would be in order.
So from just so I understand, like you guys are strict on the dues. From a college standpoint, I'm telling you myself, when I got a whole club of people,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Now,
of money to us. We
if
can't
they're-
do that.
Understand. If they're under 21, it's only $25.
Yeah, but then again, if you're getting a level 1, I mean, that's not the cheap area of rocketry.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: we're doing the rocketry and these competitions through the school. Again, we get funding through the school to do these and be part of the competition. That's why.
I think Randy, I think by a grant application is your best. I can't. Speaking
Yeah,
for
we
my-
can't.
I can't personally approve it.
But
We just
we
go
would,
forward and say.
we would definitely entertain a grant proposal. If you say, hey, I have a scientific reason to do this, and working in some type of package deal, not specifically going after money for the memberships, but we might grant that.
The school will back you on the kits and the motors and stuff, but they possibly back you toward the end of it.
That would be really tough. I have to go before the student senate and propose this idea to them. And it's got to be beneficial to you academically, to your career in the future. That would be tough to pass. But that's an individual thing.
Well,
not
think of it this way. In the business world, a professional membership is clearly a tax deductible
Yes.
and an expense that your future employers definitely take on. So I don't, if the college was to think in that light, they might cover it.
Yeah.
I know that we would have to have a grant proposal to say, hey, this is my scientific reason for doing this, and this is our objective, and the cost of this project is going to be this much, and I'm not listing out specifically to cover cost of memberships, we may grant that. So that would be a proposal that would be worth a few hours to write.
Right. Okay, so there's options.
Yeah, there is options. You just happen to hit one that's a little
Yeah,
tougher for us
right.
to even
Yeah, I
overcome.
understand.
All right, our time is up, so thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.